Okay, well, I did a preparation for the test on Monday and sort of fact sheet, and unfortunately I've done it in pencil, which doesn't show very well in the video. But so there are 5 topics. Number 1 is the fractions, okay, taking care of those mixed numbers. Then we've got the algebraic fractions, which I've gone through before in the previous video. And then we've got percentage change. Okay, now percentage change fundamentally is not too bad as long as you know your multipliers. So a 3% increase is times by 1.03, and a 3% decrease is times by 0.97. And then that's about it really, except for you need to understand that if it's a 7% profit, it's times by 1.07. 12% loss times by 0.88. Another key thing is to learn the word appreciation and depreciation. So appreciation, if you appreciate someone, you like them. So that's good. You're going to go up. 16% appreciation times by 1.16. To depreciate, okay, D for down, okay, so 23% depreciation times by 0.77. And compound interest, which is the 4th topic, is just that if you're going to do it for 10 years, then you'd effectively be multiplying by 1.02. So 2% interest for 10 years, you'd be doing that, timesing by 1.02, times by 1.02, times by so forth. And so you can do that 10 times. So we can actually nicely just use a power. So 2% interest for 10 years is to the power 10. And here we've got a 19% loss for 20 years. So times by 0.81 to the power 20. Okay, then we've got the last topic, which is bounds. And bounds, we've got really basically 2 elements to it. If you're doing something to the nearest 100, you actually this is incorrect. So I've done this to the nearest 100. So I don't know where I'm getting that from. That should be 2650. Because if you're doing to the nearest 100, you do plus 50 and you do minus 50. So I've got 2600, 2650. Okay, and sometimes it's easier to add the top bit before you do the bottom bit. And this one's to the nearest 10. Okay, so I've done plus 5, minus 5. So 565, and then make it symmetrical with the bottom. Then here, these ones people sometimes find a bit trickier, to the nearest 2 decimal places. So here's the decimal, so the first, second decimal place. And so what I've done is just chuck a 5 at the top here. And then I've made it symmetrical by, if that's 3.625, then this is 3.615, okay? And here to the nearest whole number, well, half a whole is a half, so I've done plus a half, minus a half. So 2 would be 2.5 and 1.5. I just want to emphasize that point about the decimals. So if you had, let's say someone had gone 4.6, this is unlikely by the way, but I'm just trying to emphasize my point. If someone had said that's been rounded to the nearest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dp, what's the upper and lower bound? Basically I'd write the original number here, 2374, and just chuck a 5 on the end here, okay, and that would be the upper bound, and the lower bound would be symmetrical with it. So I'm changing that 4 to a 3. So just make it symmetrical. Again, it's probably easier if you had 8.29 to 3 sig fig. Okay, I'm just going to write the top number, then add a 5. Okay, and then just keep it symmetrical so that this is 8.5. So 8.285. Okay, right, so now that's upper and lower bounds, and that's most of the marks for bounds. But there's another A-star topic which I will find for you. And this is the last thing in the thing, and that's using bounds in formulas, okay? And now if you're lucky, it'll be a nice easy one, like the formula is P equals AB, where A and B just multiplied. And they might ask you for the upper or the lower bound of that thing. Well, first of all, you've got 3.67. Okay, so I'm going to write 3.67 and chuck a 5 on the end. Okay, and then make it symmetrical at the bottom. Likewise, 6.7, just chuck a 5 on the end and make it symmetrical at the bottom. Okay, so that's the upper bound, that's the lower bound, upper bound, lower bound. And there are 4 different ways in which you can put those numbers in. You could use the upper bound times the upper bound, you could do the upper bound times the lower bound of the other one, and there's various different ways of doing it. And I'm, in this video, I'm not going to tell you which one's going to give you the upper bound, even though it might be a bit obvious, or which one will give you the lower bound. What I'm saying is, in the exam, you can try it, you've got a calculator, you can try all of these alternatives, and just check out which gives you the lower bound, which gives you the upper bound. Okay, spoiler alert, that'll give you the upper bound, that'll give you the lower bound. Okay, that's for one like this. This is the one that's supposed to catch people out. Okay, because well, I will go into it for a minute. So here, I don't know if you can just make out on the video because the pencil's very small, but I've got 9.876. So I'm just going to write that number down and add a 5. Make it symmetrical. And so that's the upper bound, that's lower bound. So here we've got 10.9842. Just added a 5 on the end there. Make it symmetrical. So 10.984. Okay, so there we are. Upper, lower. Okay, now this is the one which is what we'll call counterintuitive, because it turns out the upper bound is not given by big divided by big. But I want to emphasize, you've got time in the exam to explore all the different options. So if they ask you what the upper bound is, check out each one. Big over big, big over small, small over big, small over small. Okay, and you'll be able to work out which is the upper and lower bound. Okay, try it with these particular numbers and see if you can work out which is the upper and lower bound. Again, probably only like to be one question on this, and it is generally speaking a top set sort of question. But if you think about it and have a little practice, I think you can get this one correct. Anyway, that concludes the revision.